All right, what we're looking at here is a 2001 Pathfinder, and this is what they call the rear link bushings in the trailing arm, or trailing arm bushings. Now, I pulled this one out, and I might do another video later of me doing that, but see, that one seems not too bad on this side. And you flip it over and you can see major deterioration, and this is what they call the Death Wobble. This thing moves around. I don't know if I can move it that easy with my fingers. Right. You know that it's not good when you got 250 horsepower moving it around and driving down the highway. If these things can move back and forth, the rear axle swings back and forth and creates steering havoc. Some mechanics will point you into front end work first, shocks, struts, tie rod ends, etc., etc. So here, the hardest part sometimes, and that's where that end came out there, and that is this end here, and they come out with these bolts. Now this vehicle is actually in really, really nice shape. Like, there's no rust on those bolts whatsoever. Little corrosion, well, not even corrosion really, just a little bit of stuff going on there. And then the other end is up here, which is right there. And just a simple bracket and a bolt going through there. And on this particular side, this is the passenger side rear, which is where the links are. We have this little gizmo here, and again, I put some penetrating fluid on there, and because I'm doing this at home, I was able to leave it sit for a couple of days, and again, hardly any corrosion in there. So they just they came off pretty easy. The left one there, you can see, was a little more difficult. The right one came off quite easy. Whether the penetrating fluid went in there or not, who knows? But definitely, I bought this vehicle quite reasonable because it had the Death Wobble, I think. It's got 240,000 kilometers on it. I ordered the neoprene, polyurethane bushings. Comes as a kit of 8, because there's one link on the bottom with 2 bushings, and there's a link on the top on each side. So that's 8 bushings total. And I ordered it from through, I guess, eBay, a company in the United States, and I'm in Canada. And it took a few days to get here, but not too bad at all. Better than paying, I think they wanted something like, I don't know, $300 or $350 in Canada. So it cost me 150 Canadian. So half price, at least, I think. So anyway, I can't remember. This is the second vehicle I've done. I did it in my other vehicle because I tow a load, and these bushings just don't stand up. The rubber in there, I've even replaced them with Moog. And they just don't stand up, because if you can see in there, there's only a little squiggle of rubber in the middle that actually takes the load back and forth, and then there's some movement, sideways, not that you want any, but it just softens the ride. So the polyurethanes, if you cut this little, and there's other videos around, if you cut this, first we got to get this out, cut the rubber out, and then we got to cut this here sleeve, and the polyurethane bushings just drop right in there, and we can just push this right back into the 2 slots here, put the bolts back in, and do her up, and no problems whatsoever. Now, as far as safety goes, I've done lots of things. I've got a jack stand under there, because you really got to torque on these bolts, and I had to use a fairly big bar, and I used a cheap impact gun, and that great big 3/4 inch bar, which is a ratchet, and put a lot of grunt into it and got her to snap. So I put the tire underneath over here, under the running board, and I've got over here a couple of heavy-duty jack stands, and I put that jack in under the oh, can't think of the name of that thing at the moment. You know what it is anyway. Under the pinion. And that's to, adjust this so that I can get the bolts in and out quite easily. Alrighty, well, on to changing the bushings, and I'll try and do another video.